All right, guys, these are the LEDs I'm going to use. They are just your basic generic LED that you pick up from Walmart or Tractor Supply. They're a 4-inch LED, 3-wire. Obviously, if it's an LED, it's going to be typically 3-wire. They don't have backup lights on them, so I'll have to make a solution for the backup light, which isn't that difficult. These will take a 4.5-inch hole saw, which I don't have. I have no idea where my 4.5-inch hole saw went. It is gone, maybe at the lake. I'm pretty sure I can cut a proper hole with my Dremel tool, and because I've done that before in the last Jeep I had, I used a Dremel. So it shouldn't be too difficult, so that's what we're going to do. But first we're going to take these tail lights off, and that's just going to be these 4 screws. And then when you get those screws off, there's bolts that just take it off the body, and then you just unplug everything. So I'll give you an idea of what that looks like, but let me go get some tools so I can start this process. 3 bolts that you take out, and they should just pop right out of there. A little bit of corrosion, so we'll see. Knowing me, I will probably strip all 3 of them and have to use a sledgehammer to get them off. Who knows? Have not had good luck on the back end of this Jeep yet, but I am confident. You can see the 3 cords needed, or the 3 wires needed right there. And there's really no way to disconnect them. You just have to cut them, and we're going to be splicing the new ones in anyway, so that's fine. So let me cut these and get these off there. You can see that how disgusting that is behind there. So I'll need to get some cleaner and clean that up. Even though I'm going to cut it out, I want it to be clean. Get the other side off, then we want to measure, mark, because you don't want to get it all done, back up, take stock of what you just did, and see that you've got a droopy eye on one side. Measure twice, cut once, as opposed to the way I normally do it, which is measure once and cut 10 times. So don't be like me. I'm removing my license plate because I'm going to relocate it as well. You can see all of this is just 4 bolts holding that in, and it is going to be, what is that, a 10? So that's a 10 millimeter, which is odd. Not because it's a 10 millimeter, because there's a lot of bolts on the Jeep that are 10 millimeter, but the fact that these 3 bolts are 3/8. So it just shows you how kind of weird it is on American cars of the late 90s. They hadn't switched all the way over to metric yet, and so there was still a mix of SAE and metric nuts and bolts on the vehicle. But these are going to be 10. I'm going to pop that off, and then we'll start marking to cut the holes. The drop down tailgate's doing awesome. I've got a nice work area. That is so much better than the swing open. So let's get this license plate holder off and soldier on. All right, almost ready to start cutting. I got one of the hinges off. Got everything else cleaned off. I've got to drill these 2 bolts out to get that hinge off. There's what I took off. If anyone needs any of those parts, message below. I'm willing to get rid of them for nothing. They're going in the trash anyway, probably, because I've taken all that off of almost every Jeep I've ever owned, and I've got 4 or 5 sets of each, probably. All right, let me show you what I did. I've got a Dremel, and I've got this, hell, I don't know what you call it, this radius cutter. I don't know, let's see what you call it. You call it a circle cutter, okay, whatever. I guess I was being too complicated. You call it a circle cutter, and what I did was I figured out 4.5-inch diameter, 2.25-inch radius, and where the middle of that would be if I was to cut this hole all the way out. And I drilled a hole for the center piece, and I put that in there and it goes around. I don't have a metal cutting bit, so I marked it with that, and I'll probably have to go back with a metal cutting disc, which isn't as precise, but we'll see. I do have a little routing bit, and that metal may be thin enough for me to use the routing bit. We'll see. I can ruin one bit, that ain't a problem. Hell, I can ruin lots of bits, that ain't a problem. Done, you can see it's a little bit lopsided right here, but that's okay, it fits pretty much perfectly. It'll take you about 2 metal cutting discs, maybe 2.5, to do this with a Dremel bit. I use these. If it's much easier with a hole saw, I just don't have one. I didn't want to go buy one just for this. I have one somewhere, so I didn't want to go buy a second one for no reason. But let me get it put in, and we'll talk a little bit about the wiring and stuff like that. All right, guys, I'm about to connect these. This wire without the stripe is the blinker wire, and so that will go to the red on the LED light. All you got to do to test it is just ground the LED light and turn your blinker on and connect one of these wires to it, and as you go through, you'll find out which one's the blinker. This one I remember being hooked up, this one right here. I remember this one being hooked up to the reverse light, the backup light, so I went ahead and eliminated that one. So it's that one. So that means that's my tail light. That will go to the black on the on this light, and of course your white is your ground, just like normal. So let me hook all that up, pop that in there, and then start with the other one, and we'll take a look at it when I get done. You do have to use this ground and actually ground it somewhere by putting a little screw in it or grounding it somewhere. The other tail lights grounded themselves to the body when you screwed them in. When you screwed the housing in, they grounded to the housing grounded to the body. So you do have to make yourself a ground. I'm just going to get a little self-tapping screw and get back in there because I don't have my inner fender in, and ground that somewhere. I'm wired up. I still don't have the ground on, but they work, as you can see. Gotta put some tape over the connectors, put some dielectric grease on them, put them in. And one thing I did notice is the blinkers don't work. The brake lights work, tail lights work, the blinkers don't. Even with the modified flasher, it's not going to work with that flasher. I'm gonna have to get an LED flasher for it. I did check, it wants to blink, it just won't. And then I also checked, I wired those back up briefly, and it worked fine. So I think with the LED front blinkers and the LED rear blinkers, that modified flasher is just not going to work. I've got to get an actual LED flasher, so I'm going to go order one of those. But I'm going to go ahead and put this in. They're easy to pop out and work on if I need to, if the LED flasher doesn't work. Do work as long as the tail lights aren't on. So that once again tells me that that flasher is the problem. All right, guys, the lights are installed. Man, that looks so much better. I'm still not sure what I'm gonna do with my license plate. Obviously, when I build my tire rack, it'll go on the tire rack. But for right now, I think I may put it right here back and bend it around the tub. Just mold it. See a lot of people doing that. I still have to put on some reverse lights, which I'll probably get some flush mount LED lights to go on the bumper or something, not sure. Show you something else. Thank God for YouTube. Look at my tailgate now. It is firm as can be. No rattles whatsoever. Show you what I did. And I found this on YouTube. The reason I had to adjust this post was because the latch was catching on it as the tailgate swung this way, because it wasn't designed to swing this way, it was designed to go this way. So the reason was this little nub. So I adjusted it out to where the nub didn't matter, and it made my tailgate rattle. Well, all I did, I saw this on YouTube from another guy's video, was grind down that nub, put my post back where it goes, and bam, no rattles. And that thing is, I mean, it is firm. So anyway, guys, this lights are very simple. It took me all day, realistically, because I didn't have my hole saw. Don't do this unless you're going to plan on the hole saw. Well, I don't say don't do it. If you're going to do it and you want to go get a hole saw, it's going to make your life a whole lot easier. But everything else is very easy. You can see I put little grounds up here. If you can see that, if it's not too dark, and over there for the lights themselves, and that's it, guys. So guys, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and subscribe. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do next. I think I'm going to start working on my Jeep trailer that I have, and either that or something simple. I might get some LED headlights or something. Definitely gotta get the LED flashers, and that's it. Thanks for watching, guys, and please subscribe.